Hello and welcome to the Ellen Made Book Club and the Rule of Thirds tag. This tag was created by Suey at Suey's Book Banter in celebration of her 3rd anniversary on Booktube. So congratulations, Suey, and thank you so much for tagging me. This tag has 3 groups of questions with 3 questions in each, and I think that it's a very great tag because it has a little bit of everything. It has, some questions about books and reading and some book questions about Booktube and, reading plans and goals. And, it's just like a mishmash of all of the things that we love to talk about. So I'm looking forward to doing this tag. I haven't prepared a lot, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm going to do my best. If you don't know Suey already, I would highly recommend to check out her channel. She likes reading young adult fiction and romance and contemporary fiction that, makes her feel good, which I really admire because I tend to read a lot of miserable things. But if you want some recommendations for like a little bit more upbeat kinds of books that might make you feel good or make you happy or, get you in your feels in a very positive way, I would definitely check out Suey. She also reads like classics and science fiction, and she's also a writer, and she is working on a space opera right now and also a young adult romance with like letters being sent, which sounds really cute. So if any of that is interesting to you, definitely check out Suey, and especially if you have a drier sense of humor, I think you might really appreciate her and her sense of humor. She always cracks me up because, I don't know, she just has a way of expressing things, and she's also very open and honest about her experience on Booktube, which I also really admire and appreciate. We're very quick to talk about, the milestones we reach and, celebrating things, but she's also very open about the struggles and, the things that we can get stuck on sometimes. And yeah, I think she's awesome, and go check her out. And let's get into the questions already. The first group of questions are about books and reading, and question number 1 is, what are your 3 favorite genres? I'm still figuring this out, but I guess I would say literary fiction or like general fiction, contemporary, general literary fiction. And then maybe speculative fiction, and then maybe historical fiction, although I don't really know. I'm dipping my toes into horror, and I really like fantasy sometimes, but I haven't really enjoyed it lately, so I don't know. I'm a bit all over the place. But I guess if I had to choose right now in this moment, it would be literary fiction, speculative fiction, and what else did I say? Historical fiction. Who are your 3 auto-buy authors? I don't really have them. I have ordered a book by Kate Foster, who wrote The Maiden, which I really liked last year. This is historical fiction set in Scotland, and she has come out with 2 more books after this one. And the first one, The King's Witches, I sort of skipped because I am now triggered by historical fiction about witches because it's horrible. But I really want to read The Morning Necklace, which is her latest release. So I have pre-ordered the paperback for that, which comes out early next year. So what was the question? Auto by authors. Yes. So Kate Foster is one that I will always at least read the synopsis for. I guess the same thing goes for Mona Awad. I recently purchased We Love You Bunny because I loved her book Bunny, and I also have Rouge by her, which I also bought because I liked Bunny. So I guess I have already bought 2 of her books, and I really want to read All's Well too. So I guess Kate Foster, Mona Awad, and I guess also Catherine Chidgey, although I haven't bought a lot of her books, but I read and loved Pet earlier this year, and now I want to read everything that she has written. And so I have purchased the book of Guilt, and I think I have a couple of her previous books on audiobook, so we'll see if I end up listening to them, or if I love this one, maybe I will buy those ones. I don't know. I'm not an auto buy kind of person, but let's go with those 3. Kate Foster, Mona Awad, and Catherine Chigi. Okay, sure. What 3 books do you recommend the most? I think these will come up again. The Maiden by Kate Foster, I have been recommending left and right because I just don't really see people talking about it, and I think it deserves a lot more hype. Pet by Catherine Chigi, I have also recommended to a bunch of people. And The Mare by Angharad Hampshire, which is a historical fiction based on a true story and a true person during the Second World War, and yeah, it's just a fantastic book and I highly recommend anyone to read it. The next set of questions is about being on Booktube, and question 4 is, what is your favorite book from each year for the past 3 years? I haven't been on Booktube for 3 years, but I have been reading, I guess. During the last 3 years, I started reading again in 2023, and I think I only read like 4 books that year. I was just like getting back into it, and it was before I had started my Booktube channel. So my favorite from 2023 would have to be The Measure by Nikki Erlich, which is a speculative fiction, I guess. Everyone wakes up one day and there's a package on their doorstep, and in the box that they get, there's a string that will tell them how long their life is. So it's following, I think, 9 different characters in the US, and their stories sort of interlink a little bit, and yeah, we just get lots of different perspectives on what that information would, what consequences that would have for these different characters. And yeah, I thought it was a really good read. A favorite book from 2024, besides the ones that I've already mentioned, would have to be Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. This one just scratched my brain in a very good way, and I am now on the hunt for anything that is remotely similar, or like scratches the same kind of itch. It's very good and it's very mysterious and yeah, brain scratching. And my favorite from this year so far, I think would have to be Pet by Catherine Chigi. This one also just sort of scratched a particular type of itch, not the same one as Piranesi. I don't know, I just really enjoyed the writing of it. It's a literary thriller, I guess, and it's not a fast-paced kind of thriller. It's more a sense of dread or like an ominous feeling, and like feeling like something is a little bit off, but it's, you're having trouble pinpointing exactly what it is, and it gets a bit I liked where it went. I just really enjoyed reading this one a lot, and yeah, I think this one is my favorite from this year so far. Question number 5 is, what are 3 things you've learned from booktubing? This one I might need to think a little bit about. I think that the number 1 thing that I've learned is just that there's a place for everyone, and like there's a place for me too. There are just so many different kinds of people on Booktube, which is why I love it so much. And every single person has, their own background and perspective and personality. And, they have a certain set of books that they read. It might be specific genres, or it might be specific tropes, or, specific authors or specific themes or whatever, and they all have a specific way of making videos. And like some people do, weekly updates on whatever they're reading, and other people do like 24-hour challenges, like vlogs, tag videos, and like there are just so many different kinds of videos that you can make about books, and I just love the variety of it all. And I also think that it shows that anyone is welcome, and like there is a place for everyone, because no matter how many booktubers you watch, when you watch a new one, there's always going to be something different about them. And like, I don't know, it's just everyone has their own unique little flavor. And so even if it feels like it's all been done before, and like, what is my little opinion on this book gonna matter to anyone? It just does. It does, because, you want to find people on Booktube that you align with in some way, or that bring you a new perspective in some way, or like there's always something, always a value to be had from everybody. And so I just feel like that is very comforting and very like inviting. And so I feel like I'm invited too, and I'm welcome here, and there's a place for me too. I don't know, I just think that's a very good feeling, and a very valuable lesson for me as a person. And I think that it's a good lesson to share with other people who might be thinking about starting a booktube channel, and just like, you're gonna be welcome, you're gonna have a place, you're gonna find your people, and you're gonna have things to say that no one else has said before in, you know, your particular way that you say it. So yeah, I guess that's the first lesson I learned. Okay. I need 2 more. Okay, I'm gonna try to be a bit more quick. The second thing I think is that numbers don't really matter as much as I might have expected. I think I thought that I would be like pay more attention to the numbers, or like be more obsessive about them, or like more competitive or something. And it's not that they don't matter. I do appreciate every single, you know, new subscriber, and I do pay attention to like what videos do well, or like, oh, this one was, you know, a bit more popular, and like, oh, that's fun. So like, it's not that it doesn't matter at all to me, but I think that I've learned that the little dopamine kick that you get from a new subscriber, it doesn't last very long. And so I try to remind myself if I look at my subscriber count, for instance, for too long and it stays the same, it's easy to get like, why isn't it growing? But then I have to remind myself that like, I just got a new subscriber like the other day, and I thought that was really exciting, and now it's just like flat. Like the joy that I got from that one new subscriber the other day, if that has already like faded a little bit, why am I so obsessive about getting one more? Because that little joy is also just gonna last for the same amount of time. I hope that makes sense. And that's not, again, to say that I don't appreciate every single one of you who is here. I really do, but it's just like, I can't, like, I appreciate the people, like I appreciate you as a person, but like the little number on the subscriber count or on the view count, that doesn't matter. Like it it's a little kick and then it's over. And so it's not a very meaningful source of joy, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And so jumping off from that, I think the third thing that I have learned is that there are so many wonderful people on here that I'm just, I don't know, I'm getting emotional. Because there are just so many connections that I've made on here that really matter a lot to me. And like, there are people on here that I care so much about. Some that I have met and others that I haven't. And it's not like the amount of them, it's not the number, like there are so many of them. It's just like the connections are very real, and I would never have met them. I would never have made those connections if I hadn't started this booktube channel. And I think that that also makes the point about the numbers not mattering as much. Is that even a word? You're gonna have to encounter a certain number of people before you find your like people. So if you have only like come across 500 people, let's say, through your channel, you might not have met anyone yet that is, you know, a true friend, and that number is going to be different for anybody. But I don't think that having, you know, 20,000 subscribers is going to make your connections to people deeper, if that makes sense. It might almost be the opposite. Like when you're a smaller channel, you don't have as many people to interact with, and so those connections can become a bit deeper instead of just being like, yeah, hi, you know, you can only have so many deep connections. And this isn't something new that no one else has ever said. You know, lots of people say that connections matter more than numbers, but I think that you only learn it when you actually live it, and like when you actually have that experience of having made true connections, and you know, just finding so much more value in those than looking at a number and like seeing something tick up or down. Like it doesn't matter. It's the connections that you make and the people that you meet, and the conversations that you have, and the, you know, the care that you feel and the joy you feel for other people's successes, or like, you know, just watching each other's videos and getting to have a conversation with people. I just, you know, that's just so much more valuable, and it's just why I love this community so much. Okay, next question. What are 3 goals you have the next year on Booktube? So I haven't set any goals for like 2026 yet. So I guess I'm gonna have to check my goals for this year, because we still have a couple of months left. And I think I'm doing pretty good on the goals that I had set myself. One of my goals for this year is to complete the reading challenges that I am participating in, like as many of them as possible and like within reason. I'm doing the 2 buzzword challenges, the Read Good Challenge, the Savage Prompts, Suey's Classic 6 Challenge, and then the Climathon, and then my own diversity book bingo. I would like to complete as many of those as possible. Another goal of mine is to find the balance between participation in reading events and like readathons and things versus reading for myself and just like mood reading and reading books that I enjoy. Like I try to combine those as much as possible. I don't force myself to read books that I don't enjoy or that I'm not interested in at all just for a reading event or a prompt or something. But the reading events can sort of distract me from reading the books that I really want to read and like that I just want to read for myself without any sort of prompt or input from anyone else. I don't know, but then I'm also really enjoying the reading events and I'm having a lot of fun with that. So it's just about finding the balance so that I enjoy myself and also participate in a reasonable amount. And then a third goal, I guess, for like Booktube is to make some of the videos that I want to make. And I mean, I'm doing that all the time. I never make a video that I don't want to make, but I have a long list of ideas that I want to do and like experiment with, and I just really enjoy the process of making videos and like coming up with different concepts and fun ideas that I want to try, and just, you know, just try it and experiment and see what happens. There are a lot of videos that I want to make that I haven't gotten to yet. That's my third goal, I guess, is to get around to making those and creating some space for myself to just do whatever I want to do and not get too stuck in like the default mode where I just make the same kinds of videos all over again. Like you need some of those to have some consistency on the channel and so people know what to expect from you. But I also want to like make my own ideas come to life because that's, you know, what makes it fun. So that's my third goal. The last set of questions is just random questions for fun. So question number 7 is, what are 3 fictional worlds you'd like to visit? The first one is the world in Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I just think that the environment that is described in this book is a bit haunting and mysterious, but it also just sounds very calming. There are these big halls and there's an ocean and lots of statues and it just sounds kind of peaceful. Another one is the world of Ronja Rövardotter, Ronja the Robber's Daughter by Astrid Lindgren. This is set in like a normal world, but there are fantastical creatures in here and there are little I don't know what they're called in English. In Swedish, they're called rumpnissar. And I would just like to see those in real life because they're adorable and really funny. And yeah, I would just love to visit this world where these creatures exist, and all of the other creatures in here as well. I think that would be really cool. And then I think I would also like to visit the world in I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman, just because I have a very clear sense, or like a very clear image of what this world looks like. I guess I would just like to visit to see how accurate that is, or like I just want to be there for a little bit and then not be there anymore. But yeah, I would love to just pop in and check things out and then come back home. Question number 8 is, what are 3 ships you'll always root for? This one is tricky and I know Suey's gonna say something about that. This one is tricky for me because I don't read a lot of books with relationships in them, like romantic relationships, but I definitely will say Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. Nick and Charlie, I definitely root for. Other than that, I'm looking at all of the books that I have read this year and there are not a lot of couples at all, but I guess the couple in Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield, you know, that's a couple. And I did care about them and like I did want the best for them and it felt very real. So I guess I'm gonna say that one. I don't remember their names, but those 2. I guess there's also a couple in So Witches We Became which is a young adult horror novel. So I don't know. Yeah, that was a cute couple in there as well, and they seemed very supportive of each other. So I'm gonna say those two. I don't want to say which ones they are because I feel like that might spoil things. And also I don't remember their names, but it's a couple that I liked, so I'm gonna say that one. Is that 3? Heartstopper, A Voice Under the Sea, and So Witches We Became. Okay. Name 3 books with a number in the title. I'm just gonna go with 3 books that I found on my shelves, and I haven't read either of these. But the first one is When True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, 3 Wishes by Leon Moriarty, and The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. And then there is a bonus question, which is, what book are you excited to read this next year? I am excited to read the 6th and final part in Heartstopper, which comes out next year, like next summer. And I wish I had known that before starting the series, because I have read volumes 1 through 5, like throughout the summer up until now. And so if I had known that, like, I thought that the 5th one was the last one, but there's going to be book number 6 next year, and so now I have to wait a whole year. I could reread them next year because they're very quick reads, but still. But yeah, that's one that I'm looking forward to reading next year. And then it says to tag 3 people, so I'm going to tag Kat at Curious Cat, Renee at Beyond Books, and Caitlin at Spill the Reads. And again, if you haven't checked out Suey's channel already, I would highly recommend to do so. She's awesome. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one.